Hello. You know, they say we all have a story to tell. Well, as for me, I choose to tell a story that's not so much about myself, but rather my grandma and grandpa and their fairy tale storybook romance of a 57-year marriage. And in their fairy tale, they had to take things to the next level. It wasn't just that they had to be together most of the time, or even under the same roof most of the time. They had to be in the same room most of the time. For example, if Grandma wanted to go into the kitchen and do some baking, why Grandpa, he would turn off the TV and grab some reading material and he'd move in to be close to her. And you know what's kind of funny is if you happen to go in 20 minutes later, chances are Grandpa is the one up doing the baking and Grandma's sitting down doing the reading. Grandpa did a lot of the baking in the house. And then vice versa, if Grandpa wanted to go downstairs to his workbench and do some woodworking, why that's when Grandma would choose to do the laundry, just to go down and be close to her. And once again, 15, 20 minutes later, chances are Grandpa's over there unloading the washer and putting the clothes into the dryer. They were just truly, truly a sight to see. And the time frame that I'm thinking of for this story is I was a teenager, and I don't think they've been considered old for too long. But Grandpa had given up the 9 to 5 a number of years before, but he did still work part-time. Or more accurately, I should say, he worked a seasonal job. And it sounds maybe a little funny for an older fella, but he worked harvesting clams, but it wasn't down at the local river. No, it was way down in the Gulf of Mexico, an area called Clamshell Bay. And pardon my French, but Grandpa worked for one of the biggest damn clam companies in the country. He worked for the Hammond Brothers, Clam and Sam. And not only was the company big, but the name of the company was big. It was the Clem & Sam Hammond Clamming Company, the biggest damn clamming company in the country. Now, Grandpa didn't have to work too hard, being you know, the older fellow, they didn't make him do the hard jobs. But the thing is, Grandpa loved being outside. And with him and Grandma being so close, why, Grandma, she didn't like being out in the sun, and she didn't like the bugs, and she didn't like the wind and that. So they didn't spend much time outdoors. So this was kind of Grandpa's getaway. And, you know, like I said, he didn't have to work too hard, so he was probably just considered the gopher, or maybe in this case, the clamster. And, you know, you can just hear it, clamster, run and get us another bucket. We've got a lot of clams coming in. I think they talk that way down there. But anyway, what would happen is that late in the summer, back at home now, Grandpa would go down to get the mail at the end of the driveway. Grandpa always got the mail. And a letter would arrive, and he could see that it was from the Hammond Brothers, and he knew that this was informing him that he had a couple of weeks to get down to the Gulf. So what he would do is he would hide it under his shirt, because he didn't want Grandma stewing about it any longer than necessary. Now, Grandma knew the score. This had been going on for a couple, 3 years, but the way she would find out about it is that she would wake up one morning, she'd put on her robe, and she'd head down the stairs expecting to find Grandpa off to the left in the kitchen making the coffee. Grandpa always made the coffee. Well, she'd get about halfway down the steps and she would see a sight that would take her breath away, and she would fall against the railing. And what she had seen is Grandpa's suitcases by the front door, and also an open guitar case. So she knew that this was the day, as a matter of fact, this was the morning, that Grandpa was going to be heading down to Clamshell Bay. So she got herself breathing again and headed on down those stairs, and she knew not to turn left, but rather turn right into the den. And sure enough, over by the fireplace, there would be Grandpa, standing there holding his guitar. And his eyes would be full of tears, and by now Grandma's eyes are full of tears too. And then Grandpa would begin to sing. Grandma, see your feet. thinking maybe this whole story is a load of hooey. But hold on, there's more hooey to be had. Grandpa, he took the guitar off and he put his arm around Grandma, and they slowly walked towards the front door. It was a private conversation. So they get to the door. Grandpa makes a couple, 3 trips out to the car. And he comes in one last time. And he gives Grandma the biggest pardon my French, I should say. He gives Grandma the biggest darn kiss of love you ever did see in your life. And then he slowly turns, goes out the door, down the steps, around the car, and he gets his keys on. Grandpa was kept to swear. Pardon Grandpa's French. So, gets the key and he gets in the car. Then he starts it and puts it in reverse. And Grandpa slowly backs out into the street, puts it in drive, and he takes off down to the west. And by now, Grandma has stepped out onto the porch, and she watches as Grandpa's car gets smaller and smaller, smaller and smaller, smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, smaller. Pardon my French, but for an old lady, Grandma had the best darned eyesight. Smaller and smaller, 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 smaller. Oh. And then he was gone. And with that, Grandma, she whirls around, runs into the house. She comes flying out of there with her purse, pulling her keys out, jumps in her car, fires it up, throws her in reverse, the tires are spinning, the gravel is flying. Out into the street she goes, drops it into gear. The tires are screaming. Pardon my French, but Grandma takes off like a bat out of heck. She's heading down to the local river, to the local gambling boat, and pardon my French one more time, but Grandma just darn it, she loved to gamble. That's the end of the story. Thank you very much.